Using the comma. Use commas to separate independent clauses when they are joined by any of these 7 coordinating conjunctions: and, but, for, or, nor, so, and yet. The game was over, comma, but the crowd refused to leave. The student explained her question, comma, yet the instructor still didn't seem to understand. Yesterday was her brother's birthday, comma, so she took him out to dinner. Use commas after introductory clauses. B, phrases, or C, words that come before the main clause. Common starter words for introductory clauses that should be followed by a comma include after, although, as, because, if, since, when, and while. While I was eating, comma, the cat scratched at the door. Because her alarm clock was broken, comma, she was late for class. If you are ill, comma, you ought to see a doctor. When the snow stops falling, we'll shovel the driveway. Use a pair of commas in the middle of a sentence to set off clauses, phrases, and words that are not essential to the meaning of the sentence. Use one comma before to indicate the beginning of the pause and one at the end to indicate the end of the pause. Clause, that Tuesday, which happens to be my birthday, is the only day when I am available to meet. A phrase, this restaurant has an exciting atmosphere. The food, on the other hand, is rather bland. Word, I appreciate your hard work. In this case, however, you seem to have overexerted yourself. Do not use commas to set off essential elements of the sentence, such as clauses beginning with that, or relative clauses. That clauses after nouns are always essential. That clauses following a verb expressing mental action are always essential. The book that I borrowed from you is excellent. She believes that she will be able to earn an A. The baby wearing a yellow jumpsuit is my niece. And we could have said that baby, but we can say the there too. Use commas to separate 3 or more words, phrases, or clauses written in a series. The Constitution establishes the legislative, executive, and judicial branches of government. Use commas to separate 2 or more coordinate adjectives that describe the same noun. Be sure never to add an extra comma between the final adjective and the noun itself, or to use commas with non-coordinate adjectives. Coordinate adjectives are adjectives with equal status in describing the noun. Does the sentence make sense if the adjectives are written in reverse order? Does the sentence make sense if the adjectives are written with and between them? He was a difficult, stubborn child. Those are coordinate. They lived in a white frame house. That's a non-coordinate. And we could say he was a difficult and stubborn child, but we would not say they lived in a white and frame house. And we could also say he was a stubborn, difficult child, but we could not say they lived in a frame white house. Well, we could say it, it just wouldn't make sense. Use a comma near the end of a sentence to separate contrasted coordinate elements or to indicate a distinct pause or shift. He was merely ignorant, not stupid. The chimpanzee seemed reflective, almost human. Use commas to set off all geographical names, items and dates except the month and day, addresses except the street number and name, and titles in names. Birmingham, Alabama gets its name from Birmingham, England. July 22nd, 1959 was a momentous day in his life. Who lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C.? Rachel B. Lake, M.D., will be the principal speaker. When you use just the month and the year, no comma is necessary after the month or year. The average temperatures for July 1998 are the highest on record for that month. Use a comma to shift between the main discourse and a quotation. John said without emotion, "I'll see you tomorrow." "I was able," she answered, "to complete the assignment." In 1848, Marx wrote, "Workers of the world, unite." Use commas wherever necessary to prevent possible confusion or misreading. To George, Harrison had been sort of an idol. And the reason we put that in there is because George Harrison is a celebrity also. So now we're talking about a person named George and a person named Harrison, not the person named or the celebrity named George Harrison. Don't use a comma to separate the subject from the verb. An incorrect sentence. An 18-year-old in California is now considered an adult. That is incorrect. You wouldn't put the comma there. Incorrect. The most important attribute of a ball player is quick reflex action. Again, that one is incorrect or wrong. Don't put a comma between the two verbs or verb phrases in a compound predicate. Incorrect. We laid out our music and snacks and began to study. Incorrect. I turned the corner and ran smack into a patrol car. Don't put a comma between the two nouns, noun phrases, or noun clauses in a compound subject or compound object. Incorrect, and this is a compound subject. The music teacher from your high school and the football coach from mine are married. Incorrect, compound object. Jeff told me that the job was still available and that the manager wanted to interview me. Don't put a comma after the main clause when a dependent or subordinate clause follows it, except for cases of extreme contrast. Incorrect, extreme contrast. She was late for class because her alarm clock was broken. That is incorrect. That's not an extreme. Incorrect. The cat scratched at the door while I was eating. Again, that is not an extreme. Correct. She was still quite upset, although she had won the Oscar. This comma use is correct because it is an example of extreme contrast. She has won the Oscar, but yet she's still upset. And an Oscar in America, pretty high acting award. Introductory clauses are dependent clauses that provide background information or set the stage for the main part of the sentence. The independent clause, for example, if they want to win. Athletes must exercise every day. You had the introductory dependent clause, then the main clause. Because he kept barking insistently, we threw the ball for Smokey. Again, introductory, dependent clause, and main clause. Introductory clauses start with adverbs like after, although, as, because, before, if, since, though, until, when, etc.